Future agenda. Oh.
Yeah.
Good evening, commissioners. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's commission meeting. I'd also like to welcome our city manager, our department heads that have joined us, members of the public. Thank you for being here. I'd like to also thank those that may be viewing online. We appreciate your interest in your city's business. And to begin the meeting this evening, I've asked Commissioner Elliott to offer a prayer, and then I will lead us in honoring our flags.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here tonight, and thank you for our great employees in the city of Clovis. And this is just a great city to live in. It's a wonderful place. And Lord, you've blessed us in so many ways, Father. I just thank you for that. This state is great, Lord. We've got a few bumps in the road, and our nation does, but we're going to survive all that. And Lord, we just thank you for being in control. And sometimes we try to do it ourselves, and we know we need to lay it at your feet, Father. We thank you, Lord, for these folks that are here tonight. We pray that things that we do and say tonight will be pleasing to you, Father, and you just give us wisdom and knowledge of how to handle the city's business, Lord. And we love you, and we praise you, and we thank you, Father, in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please join me in honoring our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Our meeting is called to order. Ms. Reyes, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Madrid,
Here.
Commissioner Casals,
Here.
Commissioner Elliott,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant,
Here.
Commissioner Garza,
Here.
Commissioner Rowley,
Here.
Commissioner Paula,
Here.
Commissioner Burns,
Here.
Mayor Morris.
Here. Thank you, Ms. Reyes. Commissioners, next we have approval of the agenda. If you've had the opportunity to review the agenda, are there any recommendations to rearrange the items or remove any of the items?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Mayor, I would like to remove number 11 from the agenda and put it out for discussion.
And you're referring to number 11 under the consent agenda? Okay.
I second that.
We can take 11 out of the consent agenda, and we will move it and make it number 1 under new business this evening. And with that, we had a motion before Commissioner Casals' recommendation for rearranging. Mayor Pro Tem, would you like to amend your motion or make
Yes,
a new motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with the change.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, and the second came from Commissioner Garza. Commissioners, please vote. And by a vote of 8-0, the motion is carried, and our agenda has been approved. Next is approval of minutes, and in your packet, you have the minutes from the Thursday, January 20th, 2022 meeting. If you've had a chance to review those minutes, are there corrections that need to be made, or is there a motion to approve them the way they are printed?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve the minutes from the January 20th meeting from Commissioner Madrid, and the second came from Commissioner Rowley. Commissioners, please vote. The vote is unanimous, and the motion is carried. Next in the agenda, we have recognition of visitors. Again, I'd like to welcome each of you that have decided to join us here in the North Annex this evening for the meeting. We look forward to hearing from you when we reach the point of the agenda that you're here to share with us on. Next is proclamations, awards, and presentations, and we have one planned presentation there this evening, and it is a proclamation proclaiming the month of February as 211 month. And from United Way of Eastern New Mexico, we have Aaron Birch and at least one other joining us this evening. Ms. Birch, thank you for being here and giving us the opportunity to do this proclamation. Please share with us whatever it is you have to share.
Absolutely, thank you. Thank you for having us this evening. This is Virginia McReynolds, and she is one of our 211 associates, has been at 211 for 6 years now, so long time person helping folks connect with what they need. So 211, February is 211 month, and I brought to you some information about 211. Our purpose is really to just raise awareness so that more people will reach out and give us a call when they start to have troubles and are looking for resources. That is the role for 211. And United Way of Eastern New Mexico has been a 211 call center for our area for the last 15 years. This is our 15th year, and we've answered over 25,000 calls in those time. And so we are celebrating that and raising awareness. And also, I always just like to remind people that 211 is a national service, and there are call centers across the U.S., and so no matter where you live, if you dial 211, you can find that local food pantry, you can find that local domestic violence shelter, or place to donate and volunteer, or whatever is challenging you and your family, you can reach out to 211 and get connected to what's available. And so I hope you'll, I appreciate this proclamation. I hope you'll join us in helping to empower folks to know that 211 is the resource. It's the only number they need, because everything else they can figure out after they call us. So, and there's a lot of good info in the packet I gave you, including 2021's call tracking sheet from our call center. And I also put in just the coverage for New Mexico. All 33 counties are covered by a call center in New Mexico. And that just kind of gives you the breakout of who's answering the phone across our state. So finally, 211 and United Way, we play a vital role in connecting people, and one of our new initiatives is to partner with the 100% New Mexico community. And this is the concept that if all of our citizens can access and receive services from the 10 vital services they need, we can significantly reduce social challenges, human service challenges that our families face. And the first step, I think, and one of the reasons 211 is so important, is whether helping people connect to what is already there. There's always gaps, and our communities can always better themselves by, increasing services, increasing access to services. But the truth is, so many times people don't even know what's available, and they don't know who to call, they don't know where to reach out to, and then therefore their needs don't get met. So anyway, that's another reason for 211 to really play an important role in just the overall well-being of our community.
Well, thank you for that, Ms. Birch. We again appreciate the opportunity to help highlight 211. I know I've come to learn over the years that United Way of Eastern New Mexico and specifically 211 is the place to direct people, and whether it's in my personal business or in my service as mayor, as I run across those folks that need help in one way or another, I know that 211 is their best bet at getting connected to services and assistance that would benefit them. And so I certainly refer 211. I know these commissioners probably do as well, but thank you for everything you do. Commissioners, I give you the opportunity to make any comments you like, but I have a proclamation to share.
Just thank you. It's a great service to the community. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, Aaron.
Whereas the United Way of Eastern New Mexico 211 program is a free, confidential referral and information hotline that connects people of all ages to essential health and human services they need, and whereas 2022 is the 15th anniversary of the 211 program in Curry and Roosevelt counties, and whereas United Way of Eastern New Mexico has helped over 25,000 callers in the last 15 years. And whereas callers to 211 are directed to resources such as food pantries, help with rent or utility bills, transportation, household goods, and services for domestic violence, rape counseling, or suicide prevention. And whereas 211 is a vital service that increases the likelihood that 100% of families in need will be able to access critical resources. This is a key strategy of United Way of Eastern New Mexico's 100% Community Initiative. And whereas 211 is the 100% Community Initiative, whereas 211 and the 100% Community Initiative seek to identify and overcome the obstacles that prevent people in need from getting their needs met, and whereas to celebrate this important free service to our community, United Way of Eastern New Mexico is conducting awareness activities throughout the month of February. Now, therefore, I, Mike Morris, Mayor of the Mayor of the City of Clovis, and on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim February 2022 as 211 month in the City of Clovis, and I congratulate United Way of Eastern New Mexico in their work in providing 211 service in our area for the past 15 years, and we encourage residents to utilize 211 to access needed services.
Yes, you can.
Commissioners, that does it for presentations this evening. So we'll move into receipts of petitions and communications. And we had several presentations or communications planned there this evening. That first one, a 2022 legislative session update from Executive Director of the Municipal League, AJ 40. Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, Mr. Forty is very busy testifying in committee right now at the legislature, so he is unavailable to provide the legislative update. We'll look to maybe get one of those from him at a later meeting. By the way, Commissioner Burns and Commissioner Madrid and I all three attended Municipal Day in Santa Fe, held by the Municipal League at the end of last week. And so, Commissioners, I'll just plant a seed with you, perhaps under reports. We can have you share anything that you like from that event. So also we have planned this evening an update from George Cruz, the administrator at PRMC. And Mr. Cruz, we're grateful that you could take the time out to be with us this evening. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission. So honestly, before I came here, I had a thought. Over the last 2 years, every time I've been asked to speak or give an update, I've always come bearing bad news, grim news. And what I was hoping for today was that was going to be different, right? You know, I looked forward to the day over the last 2 years where I can come and deliver some hope, right? And I think I can do that today. I really do, right? And so, but before I do, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the folks, the team at PRMC, and all of our partners that we work with outside of PRMC, because I have to be honest with you, the last 2 months have been relentless. It felt like it was never ending. It felt grim. But the one thing that I never saw was quit in any of our folks. And so I would hope that, you know, the city of Clovis would understand some of the sacrifices that the staff has made and recognize some of the great work that has gone into caring for the patients in an otherwise difficult time. So I would be remiss if I didn't recognize those folks. That being said, I do want to deliver some good news, right? I think, while things aren't necessarily done, right? COVID is not behind us. I do want to deliver some hope, and that is, over the last 2 months, we averaged anywhere between 25, 27 COVID patients in-house, and a raw number of 25 and 27 does not sound like a lot, but very often was upwards of 70 to 80% of our inpatient population at one time. And so those were tough times. It's hard to staff for those kind of numbers, just due to the additional resources that it requires to take care of these patients. So I'm so happy and encouraged to let you guys know that over the last 2.5 weeks to 3 weeks, we've seen sort of this gradual decline in the number of hospitalizations, the number of ER visits, which at one time got very overwhelming, the number of positives that we're seeing on a weekly basis. 3 weeks ago, we were seeing 300 plus a week. Over the last 2 weeks, we've seen a little over 100 each week. So it gives you an idea of sort of the trend, the downward trend that we are currently on. When I came in this morning, we had 10 patients, 10 COVID patients in-house, the lowest that we have been over the past 3 or 4 months. When I left today, we had 10 patients. We didn't add, right? That says a lot. And so I'm extremely encouraged by what I'm seeing over the last several weeks. I hope that it continues that way. I am a bit superstitious and don't like to celebrate too early, but like I said, I've been looking forward to the moment that I can bring forward some hope rather than grim news, and I wanted to take the opportunity to do that today. There is some hope, right? I think that things are finally starting to look good. Modeling shows a continual gradual decrease in the numbers. I hope it stays true to that. I really do, because the staff right now is really sort of in recovery mode, and they need it. They need it mentally, emotionally, and physically. They really do. And with that, I would stand for any questions if you guys have any.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for the report, and we are so glad that it's a message of hope, and that the numbers are trending downward. We're so glad to hear that, and we are, of course, grateful. Admittedly, I don't know how to properly express the gratitude to you and the staff, the team, as you refer to them out at PRMC, but thank you. Please pass along our thanks to them.
Absolutely.
Commissioners, comments or questions for Mr. Cruz?
I do have a comment, and George, I appreciate the encouraging information that you provided. I think, hopefully that'll continue as well. But, as the mayor said, we want to thank all your team for what they do, but especially you. We don't only have a good administrator at our hospital, but you get out there on the floor or wherever you're needed and help out when you're shorthanded. And being on the board, I see that, and so I appreciate what you do. Your team, I know your team appreciates it, and so does our community. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Same here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Mr. Cruz. Okay, next, under communications, I'll ask if Mr. Heerding would like to share with us, as well as Ms. Kelly, communication regarding at-home COVID self-tests. Mr. Heerding is our Emergency Management Director. And that's what the tripod is for.
Well, we have to have visuals. So good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. So I'm here to let Let y'all know that last week we were contacted by Department of Homeland Security Emergency Management saying that they had at-home rapid tests available for each county in New Mexico. These tests were distributed to us based on population. So last week I went up to Tucumcari and took my trailer and picked up 113 cases of tests. Wow. Each case has 90 of those tests that were just given to you in them. So we got about, 10,170 kits, and each kit has 2 tests. So we've been giving them out since last week. We have this sign that you can see it. It's sitting in City Hall. Just come back to our office. We'll give them to you, no questions asked. Any member of your household ages 2 and up, just come and get them. We'll give them to you. For those folks online, there's a website and a QR code you can scan and go to. There's one for organizations. If you have an organization like a nonprofit or anything that would like tests to give out in your business, put the request in, we'll fulfill it, and we'll give you a couple boxes, whatever you feel you can get rid of for, that time period. So, but yeah, just come on in. We're in the office from 8 to noon and 1 to 4. We want to get rid of them. We want to get them out of our office, we want to get them out to the folks who need them and want them. Absolutely. So.
And so just to be clear, for the benefit of the public, it's at City Hall?
Yes, sir. Sorry.
The public can come right
321
down?
North Connolly, yep, City Hall. So just come on in, walk to the back. We're there. We'll give them to you. Like I said, any member of your household 2 or above. If you want to give some for your neighbors, we'll give them to you also. Yeah, we have plenty of left. We've given about half of them away, so we still have, a little over 50 boxes of them, so plenty. And the expectation is we might get more next week, so.
Wow, okay.
Yes, so, yeah, these are the rapid tests. They're not good for most travel. They just give a real good indication of, if you have COVID or not, and they really work only if you have signs or symptoms. So, and it is a quick nose swab, so, but it does work. We've had lots of folks tell us that, yes, it does work, so. But
Very good. Well, thank you for that. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Heering?
Dan, is there an expiration date on these?
yes, this particular batch expires in July, so it is a rather short comparatively. We had a batch that went to Texaco the week before that expired in June. So it's it's continuous evolving, yes.
And did you say that they cannot be used for travel?
Right, it's a rapid test. Most of the time, like for the countries that want to test, it's a PCR test, which is the more detailed one, if you will. That's the one that goes to a lab and gets a lab verified. So those generally, these will not work for that purpose. It's a real good indication to determine if what you truly have when you're sick, feeling ill, is in fact COVID.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thanks for that, Mr. Heering.
You're
Appreciate it.
welcome. I'll take my sign now.
Very good. Commissioners, I want to take the opportunity under communications to talk about the upcoming election. I think that the public must know that on March 1st, all of our 4 districts will be going to the polls and voters will be electing city commissioners in their district. But in addition to the commission races on the ballot are 4 yes or no questions. 4 yes or no questions, all pertaining to the city charter. And all 4 questions are on the ballot, if you remember, as a result of the charter review that was done, that was completed in 2021. You remember the charter requires that it be reviewed each or once every 10 years, and you appointed a charter review committee. That committee met several times and went through the charter and made recommendations, and those recommendations resulted in these questions being on the ballot. And I wanted to just take a few minutes and highlight them for everyone's benefit. I'm looking at a sample ballot, so I would encourage the public to contact City Hall, contact City Hall to get a sample ballot for, specific to their voter registration so that they can see exactly what the commission race looks like on their ballot, as well as be familiar with these questions. But as you go through the ballot, you're going to run into the questions in this order. The first is, shall the city charter be amended to remove section 3.2, term limits in its entirety, as the New Mexico Supreme Court has declared the imposition of term limits on municipal elected officials violates the New Mexico Constitution? Yes or no? Shall the city charter be amended? So this is a yes or no question to the voters in Clovis, and for background on that, as the question indicates, the charter currently, as it's written, imposes term limits on these positions on the elected officials. However, that is unenforceable in the state of New Mexico. So what we have is section 3.2 just sitting there in our charter, having no use because it's unenforceable. So the Charter Review Committee thought that the voters should consider removing it, given that it is an ineffective section in our charter. So voting yes would allow an amendment to be made to remove that section. Voting no will leave it as is. The charter will still read as though there are term limits. However, term limits will not apply because of the New Mexico law. So the second question that you'll run into on the ballot is, shall the city charter be amended to change the percentage of voters required to recall an elected official from 20% to 33 1/3%? So the charter currently reads that a recall petition can be circulated and signed, and if you get signatures in a number greater than 20% of those voters in the last municipal election, you can have a recall election. The Charter Review Committee thought that would need to be, or that we should consider, that the voters should consider increasing that threshold to 33 1/3%. Now, I believe Commissioner Paula and Commissioner Rowley, if I'm right, each of you sat on that committee, as did I. And I remember as this was brought up by citizens who sat on the committee, we actually, as elected officials, found ourselves in a position of telling citizens, well, no, you wouldn't want to raise the threshold to recall, but the citizens that sat on that Charter Review Committee really felt strongly about that, and so here we have it as a recommendation. Again, a vote yes would result in an amendment raising that threshold to 33 1/3%. A vote no will leave it as is, and it would take 20% to force a recall election. The third question you'll run into is, shall the city charter be amended to add the requirement that any recall petition contain a clear and concise statement citing the grounds for recall of an elected official? As the charter reads now, there need be no reason to circulate a petition for recall, and the Charter Review Committee, again, they thought that the voters should consider adding that. So a vote yes will result in the charter being amended to include that requirement of a reason for the petition for recall. A vote no will leave it as is, and there won't be a reason required going forward. The last and the fourth question related to the charter that you'll see on your ballot is, shall the city charter be amended so that it reads gender neutral? Yes or no? Simply put, and I encourage anyone and everyone to go and read the charter. I happen to really think it's a wonderful document, and I'm very proud that our city is organized under a city charter. However, when you read the document, it'll refer to the position of mayor or the position of commissioner as he or him. And the Charter Review Committee thought that it would be important that we amend that language so that our charter reads in such a way that it's acknowledged that both men and women hold these positions. And so a vote yes will allow the charter to be amended to do as I just explained. A vote no will leave it as is. So I wanted to cover those questions because I know there must be some confusion out there, and if we can get to a few voters to to let them know about what's on the ballot before they go to the booth and are surprised by these questions, I thought it'd be important to do so. Commissioners, any comments or anything to add on that? No? Okay, very good. We are still in receipts of petitions and communications, so it's at this point that we would love to hear from anyone from the public that has something that they would like to bring before the commission this evening. Is there anyone that would like to do that? Hearing and seeing none, we will move on in the agenda, commissioners, to the consent agenda. If you remember, we made a change before approving tonight's agenda. So you now have 15 items on the consent agenda. The first is the motion to place. The 15th is the motion to approve or acknowledge. And as you know, this item is placed on the agenda so that the commission by unanimous consent can designate those routine items that they wish to approve or acknowledge with one motion. If any proposal does not meet with the approval of all commission members, or if a citizen so requests, that item will be heard when reached under the regular agenda. I'll read now items 2 through 14. Item 2 is request for approval of adoption of ordinance number 2161-2022 relating to the Unified Development Ordinance, amending the Cannabis Ordinance in section 17.30.020.j. Item 3, request for approval of military working dog civilian support release and reimbursement agreement between the 27th Special Operations Wing, 27th Special Operations Security Forces Squadron, Cannon Air Force Base, New Mexico, and the New Mexico Department of Public Safety, Clovis Police Department, Curry County Sheriff's Office, Portales Police Department, Roosevelt County Sheriff's Department, Curry County Adult Detention Center, and Roosevelt County Detention Center. Item 4, request for approval of Molson Corbin Task Order 2020-7, provide design and engineering services for the reconstruction of Taxiway A North and for surface seal and crack seal of runway 422. Item 5, request for approval of Molson Corbin Task Order 2020-10, observation and testing services for construction of new airport fence. Item 6, request for approval to reallocate non-reoccurring funds for airport fuel farm project and terminal floor project. Item 7, request for approval to award RFP 21-1005-05 aviation fuel supplier to AvFuel. Item 8 is request for approval of memorandum of agreement between the 27th Special Operations Wing, 27th Special Operations Security Forces Squadron, Cannon Air Force Base, New Mexico, and the New Mexico Department of Public Safety, Clovis Police Department, Curry County Sheriff's Office, Portales Police Department, Roosevelt County Sheriff's Department, Curry County Adult Detention Center, and Roosevelt County Detention Center for law enforcement response assistance and information sharing. Item 9, request for approval for the City of Clovis to act as fiscal agent for any capital outlay funding received by Clovis Curry Chamber of Commerce during the 2022 legislative session. Item 10, request for approval for the City of Clovis to act as fiscal agent for any capital outlay funding received by the Food Bank of Eastern New Mexico during the 2020 legislative session. Item 11, request for approval to apply for and accept, if awarded, FY21 Fire Prevention and Safety Grant in the amount of $157,500 to purchase a new safety house and vehicle. Item 12, request for approval of emergency budget change of $6,527.96 from 01-0801-62755 for improvements to the Lyceum Theater. Item 13, request for approval to apply for and accept, if awarded, the Next 50 Initiative Grant in the amount of $105,981.79 to construct a combined basketball, tennis, and pickleball court at Hillcrest Park. Item 14, request for approval to request for approval of appointment of David Robinson to serve on the City of Clovis Economic Incentive Board as the utility service provider. Commissioners, that is your consent agenda. If all of that looks good to you, I would entertain a motion to place the indicated items on the consent agenda by unanimous vote.
Second.
Motion to place the consent, motion to place the indicated items on the consent agenda by unanimous vote came from Commissioner Madrid, and the second from Commissioner Casaus. Commissioners, please vote. And the vote is unanimous. The motion is carried. The items have been placed on the consent agenda. I would now entertain a motion to approve or acknowledge the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion to approve the consent agenda coming from Commissioner Madrid, and the second from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. Commissioners, please vote.
Motion was made by.
I misspoke. The motion was made by Commissioner Garza to approve the consent agenda. The second came from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. What is before you is the approval of the consent agenda. Please vote. The vote is unanimous, and the motion is carried, and the consent agenda has been approved. We will move on to the next section of our agenda tonight. It is introduction and adoption of resolutions and ordinances. 4 pieces of business to deal with there this evening. The first is request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3104-2022, authorizing an abatement for 1107 Sheldon. Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. So there's 4 condemnation resolutions on the agenda this evening. The first 3 are for demolitions, and the 4th one is a request to secure the structure. The first one on the agenda, 1107 Sheldon. It's actually 2 rear accessory buildings that are at issue. They appear to be burned and, of course, incapable of habitation or repairs, and Building Safety is requesting to demo those 2 buildings. The property owners identified are Roy and Shashawn Hagler. So I'd be happy to stand for any questions. There are a number of photographs, I believe, in your commission packet that show the structures.
Yes, thank you for that, Mr. Morris. Commissioners, we will, as we typically do when we have several of these properties to consider a resolution on, we will deal with them one by one. What questions or comments do you have pertaining to 1107 Sheldon?
No comment, just make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion for approval from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, second from Commissioner Paula. What is before you is approval of adoption of resolution number 3104-2022. Please vote. The vote is unanimous. The motion is carried. Thank you. Item 2, request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3105-2022, authorizing an abatement for 120 Venus. Morris.
Thank you again, Mayor. So 120 Venus is, the property owner of record is Michael Williams. It houses a single wide trailer that's in really bad shape. Again, I think the photographs speak for themselves. And this is another demolition request by Building Safety. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Morris. Comments or questions, Commissioners, or is there a motion?
I move for approval.
Okay, motion to approve from Commissioner Garza,
Second.
second from Commissioner Rowley. What is before you is the approval of adoption of resolution number 3105-2022. Please vote. And the vote is unanimous. The motion is carried. Item 3, request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3106-2022, authorizing the abatement of 117 Thornton. Mr. Morris.
Thank you again, Mayor. So 117 Thornton is the 3rd demolition request. It looks like the exterior walls have been removed or partially removed. It's in really bad shape, the structure, and incapable of repair. And again, Building Safety is requesting your approval of a resolution to demolish that structure.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion for approval of this resolution from Commissioner Madrid and a second from Commissioner Casals. Any discussion or debate? Commissioners, what is before you is the approval of resolution number 3106-2022. Please vote. And by a vote of 8-0, the motion is carried. Thank you. Item 4, request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3107-2022, authorizing an abatement for 108 Thornton. Mr. Morris.
Thank you again, Mayor. So the last item, 108 Thornton, is a vacant building on a property owned by Wandel and Ann Massey. Building Safety is requesting that we secure the building to keep out trespassers. And for more information, I believe Mr. Roach from Building Safety would like to offer some comments.
Yeah, Mr. Roach? And Mr. Roach, after you give us what you have on 108 Thornton and the commissioners have any questions and once they've taken action, could we have you hang around for a report on building safety?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
108 Thornton, it needs secured. I mean, there's a lot of homeless going in and out of there. It's just one that we need to go in and board up and hopefully kind of get that stopped.
Okay. What type of structure is it? I'm sorry, is it a manufactured home?
It's a former residence.
Okay.
It's not a trailer home.
Okay, all right, thanks. Commissioners, if you've had a chance to go look at that or review the information on it, do you have questions for Mr. Roach?
I have a question.
Commissioner Casals?
Why not demolished instead of just boarding it up? I mean, it doesn't look like it's livable.
It is actually still structurally sound. It could be remodeled.
Okay,
Do you have any idea how long that's been vacant?
I don't, sir.
Mayor,
yes, Commissioner Elliott?
how long, if Mr. Massey does get it to where somebody can't get in there, how much time does he have to do that?
As soon as it's approved, if there is nobody in there, we can get our ERT guys there within a week or so to get it boarded up.
Okay.
That is if there's nobody in there.
Okay, and he pays for that?
We buy the initial materials, we charge it to them with a weed cut or on a
Yeah,
lien.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, and we would handle that similar, like when we go into a property to abate it, or even if we're demoing it, we would basically bill the property owner for that. As with a lot of things, when we don't get paid within a certain amount of time, it'll continue to collect interest, and then eventually we'll file a lien on the property to secure our interest in that property.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Roach.
Any other comments, questions, or debate on this, or is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion to approve from Commissioner Casals, second from Commissioner Madrid. Commissioners, what is before you is approval of resolution. Did I misspeak one more time?
Yes, sir.
You know what, I'm really sorry about that, Commissioner Garza. I don't know why that's just rolling off
Quite
tonight.
all right.
Well, I'll have to figure out some way to get you to forgive me for doing that. Once again, the motion for approval came from Commissioner Casals. The second came from my friend, Commissioner Garza, who I know very well, know him well enough to know his name. And what is before you is the approval of resolution number 3107-2022. Commissioners, please vote. And the vote is unanimous. The motion is carried. Commissioners, I'd ask if Mr. Roach would give us an update on building safety and ERT and just kind of give us an idea, as you know, since taking over that department and with our support, you know, we've really asked that they would ramp things up in terms of, you know, getting after these unsafe and dilapidated properties, as well as weeds and graffiti and just everything. And so, Mr. Roach, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. It's been a very short, long 17 months since I took over. It's been fun. There's been a lot of changes. I prepared about a 100-point slide, but I figured I'd bore you with that. It was suggested by Claire that I do it in song, but that's not going to happen either. So I've got some numbers for you. So I've got
We
percentages.
changed our mind. We don't want the report. I'm kidding. Go
Because
ahead.
I'm not going to sing it. Mr. Harris can sing for me. So when I took over 17 months ago, there was a lot of areas in our department, they didn't really keep track of a lot of good numbers. We have started that, so I've got some really good numbers now. ERT, the Environmental Response Team, that actually goes and cleans up the properties. In 2020, they cleaned up 216 properties, and in 21, we did 467 with 116.2% increase. As far as when the code compliance officers send a notice or a letter to homeowners, they don't reply. It goes on to the list to be cleaned up. Sometimes they get to it before we do. That has gone up 439%. Wow. ERT equipment has gone up 162.5% by adding some more mowers and some vehicles that run to get them around. You guys have seen my new little Maverick hybrid pickups that we've got. Since we've got those, I did a average over the last 5 months, and our fuel costs have gone down 11.26% in January. So that's a positive. Permits have gone up 55.95% from 2020 to 2021. Requests that come in for code compliance as far as complaints of weeds or debris or vehicles has gone up 47.41%. In 2020, code compliance did 1,063 open cases. They opened 1,063 cases. In 21, we did 2,822 with 165.48% increase. We closed 1,052, and we closed 2,744 with 160.84%. Zoning department. There was not a lot of really good data from the previous records, but my new zoning administrator has been doing wonderful, and he's got some really good numbers. I have them for you if you ever need them. Some of the things that we have changed, we've put code officers in zones now. Each one of them have quotas to meet, weekly, daily. Building inspectors have quotas to meet. So lots of things have changed. Lots of things have increased. Of course, with that means, you know, we're spending more too, because I keep getting hounded about printing budget for some reason. But yeah, when we increase that much more letters, lots of things go up. So, and all in all, it's going very well.
Glad to hear that. How many folks in your department?
We have a grand total of 15. Now, 9 months ago, I introduced you to Robert Carson, the code supervisor. 2 weeks ago, he left and went back to South Carolina because he had his father's health was bad. So that position is currently open. I am seeking a new code supervisor, and I've got some interviews set up for next week. So hopefully that'll be done, and we'll be back to fully staffed.
Very good. So with all of these calls that come in, these complaints that come in, and tickets are open for weeds or graffiti or whatever it is, primarily how do they come in? And what I'm hoping to get to is there's an app for that, right?
There is an app for that.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, there's an app for that. There's phone calls. You can walk in the door. Post-it notes. We'll take any way we can.
Where can the public post-it notes? Where can the public find the app? Is it
City Clovis website.
okay?
Yeah,
very
just
good.
go under code compliance, and there's, I think it says, make a report, make a claim, make a something.
And Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, there's also C-Click Fix. So you could go to the App Store on your device, and I think if you type in there Clovis Works, I believe is what it is, and you can download the app from an app store as well.
Okay, yep, thank you for that, appreciate it. Well, Mr.
And I
Roach.
did have a couple other things.
Okay,
We did do 15 demolitions in '21, and I figured you'd like this one too, wherever it went. And we didn't have accurate data for '20 as far as graffiti removals, but we did 77 graffiti removals in '21, and so far, since January 1st, we've done 90 for '22.
whoa,
So,
how did you do that? Do you just, I mean, 71 or 70?
we're 77 last year, and we've got 90 so far this year.
Okay,
So,
all right, well, good deal.
ramping it up.
Well, we appreciate the update on your efforts, and I know the public appreciates your efforts in helping to clean things up. So thank you. Commissioners, any comments or questions for Mr. Roach?
Oh, good job, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Roach. Commissioners, we have nothing to deal with under unfinished business, so we are on to new business. Again, number 11 came out of consent and came over to new business. We'll handle it first. It is request for approval of budget transfer from Fund 77 Lodgers Tax to Fund 19 Colonial Park Golf Course to replace grill at Colonial Park Golf Course. Mr. Howell, can you advise?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. I was actually contacted a couple of weeks ago by Keaton Ockett, the general manager at Colonial Park for Touchstone, regarding the condition of the grill in the kitchen itself. He reported to me that basically it's not in great operational condition. The ovens that are located, the two ovens are not in operation. 2 of the 4 burners are not working anymore. The knobs on the front of the grill itself have all broken off as well. They looked into trying to find replacement parts for the grill itself. The age of the grill, it's the original grill that was located at the facility when we bought the golf course. And finding those replacement parts has become increasingly difficult as well as more and more expensive. And so he was recommending that the grill actually be replaced. So I contacted one of the 2 experts that I know in the restaurant industry and went by alphabetical order. And so I contacted Commissioner Bryant to have him go out and look at the grill as well. And so he did so and agreed that it was definitely not in great condition and probably needed to be replaced. And so Mr. Ockett had received quotes for the grill to be replaced out there. And for the replacement cost is, including freight and gross receipts tax, is $8,777.63. And it would come out of Fund 77, which is our lodgers tax fund. And you have to remember that our lodgers tax fund is broken up into 2 different portions. There's the promotional portion of the lodgers tax fund that obviously goes to our lodgers tax board to delegate out, as well as then the non-promotional side of our lodgers tax funds. So we're proposing to use the non-promotional side of our lodgers tax fund. And that is also the fund that we utilize to budget for the golf course every year when we submit the budget to you guys for approval. So taking out of the cash reserve for Fund 77. Mr. Ockett is with us this evening and can answer any questions that you may have regarding this action item this evening.
Thank you for that. And I think you've explained very well that there's a grill that's in need of being replaced. But just a reminder for the commission as well as for the public that may be tracking this, the golf course is, long ago now, became an asset of the city. And even through the agreement that we have with Touchstone to operate the golf course, including that building and that kitchen and all of that, it is on the city to maintain and keep those assets up?
Yes,
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, that is 100% correct.
Okay.
City of Clovis owns all of the assets that are on at Colonial Park Golf Course. And if you also recall, we changed the way that we fund the golf course. Currently, we provide 100% of the budget for the golf course, and we receive 100% of the revenues that are made at the golf course itself. the agreement with Touchstone is that they have a management fee, so we pay them a separate management fee. But any of the revenues that are generated out of the golf course from the sale of, in the restaurant for events and banquets, greens fees, cart rentals, et cetera, all of those revenues come back into the city with the ultimate goal of trying to no longer subsidize and close that gap on the subsidy that we're incurring out at the golf course currently.
Okay, thank you for that. Commissioners, Commissioner Madrid.
I'd like to hear from Commissioner Bryant on that grill out there.
Mayor Pro Tem?
The expert.
One of the two experts.
Yeah. As Mr. Holwell said, I did go out and look at it, and first of all, it's not a name brand grill, so finding parts for it would be virtually probably impossible. That is a very, very old grill. I don't know how long it's been there, but it could possibly be the original grill that went in there. So, we would be putting good money into an old grill, what it would come down to being. And, I'm all for repairing things and fixing things that are repairable, but unfortunately, that grill is probably unrepairable. And if it is repairable, it would cost a lot of money. I did look at different options as far as going with different companies. And the company that Mr. Ockett actually talked to had the best deal on the range. Our only big problem is how long it's going to take to get it, because normally with those ranges they build them as they get orders for them. So we're probably looking at 15 weeks out, 24 weeks out just to get it. So but I did go out and look at it, and if we're going to continue to have food service out there, then we have to have the proper equipment to take care of it and be able to take care of the food service facility.
Commissioner Madrid, did you have more?
Another question?
No more questions.
Mayor?
Okay, very good. Commissioner Casals?
The revenue that we get from Touchstone, is it enough to pay for this grill?
No, ma'am. Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioner Casals, we subsidize the golf course as it is right now. And so this would just come out of cash reserves and be $8,700 more that we're subsidizing. Like I said, we haven't closed the books out. We're only halfway through the year,
Right.
but they're doing a good job. I mean, we have, our rounds played have gone up. I believe that the restaurant is doing a really good job. Our events sales have increased. So working towards closing that gap.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner Burns.
Commissioner, can I assume that we've picked a quality grill to replace this?
We did. It's a name brand, and parts would be available for it years from now. If we chose a cheaper brand, then there's a possibility in 5-10 years those parts may not be available for it. This particular one is, like I say, pretty good brand. So I feel, comfortable that 15-20 years from now we'll still be able to acquire parts for it and
Thank you.
repair it.
Thank you. Any questions, debate?
Mr. Mayor, I don't want to get into comparing apples to apples, but I did find another piece of equipment that is similar to it for $3,600. The BTUs are a little bit different, 33,000. The one that is proposed with a company that I used to do business with, and this one is a company that I do business with all the time, and they do provide good service. I don't know about the delivery time, but I think given the circumstances, we can probably check into it and see how soon they can get it here. These name brand companies that do food supplies, they always increase their prices at least $2,000 or more. In this case, I can see it's more than that. I'm just worried about jumping into something without checking another source. If we can save the money and we can get the product a lot quicker here, then that's what we need to do. Do we want to table this? I don't know. The need is there, but I think we owe it to the golf course to get the equipment as soon as they can for service. And I agree with Mayor Pro Tem Bryant that putting new parts into an old piece of equipment is not good. It won't extend the warranty for one reason, and the other is you're still going to be needing some service to it in the future. So a new piece of equipment will be the right way to go. Again, I don't think it will really hurt us if we try to check and see how soon the other company can bring the piece of equipment.
Commissioner Garza, I think it's, and Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, the both of you, I think it's, it's great in this case that you two have the experience you do in the restaurant industry and know about these things. Commissioner Garza, I think that you make a great point. If there's further research that can be done and find a better value, and there's some reason or there's no reason why the lower cost grill wouldn't be good, then we should be good stewards of the money. So I would suggest maybe we could approve up to the amount that's being requested, but ask that research be done and a report back at least to the city manager, if not this commission. Would that be fair?
That'd be fair.
I'd be fine with that. I mean, Commissioner Garza may have access to another company that I'm not seeing. And, if it's apples to apples and it's a good brand piece of equipment, and then I see no reason to, not look into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be fine with that.
Well, and so what's before you is approval of a budget transfer, and you could. Just a suggestion, you could approve a budget transfer up to what's being requested, but then that diligence can be done to make sure that we're getting the best value.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Sounds like Commissioner Elliott beat you to the second there. We had a motion
you
for
sure?
approval.
Are you
Yes.
sure?
Yes, I'm going to be very careful about names. Motion for approval came from Commissioner Burns. Second came from Commissioner Elliott. What is before you is this approval of a budget transfer from Fund 77, Lodgers Tax, to Fund 19 for the purchase of this grill for the golf course. Commissioners, please vote. And the vote is unanimous, and the motion is carried. Thank you. All right, second item. Second item under new business this evening is request for approval of 2017 ambulance billing write-off. Chief Nolan with the Clovis Fire Department is here to share with us on this topic. Chief Nolan, great to have you with us. We'll give you the floor, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. So it's February and I'm here again, just as we are every February. I would, at this time, read the background for the presentation on this, and you all have it, but the public may not. Clovis Fire Department can actively pursue collection of medical accounts for a period of 4 years. During the year of 2017, Clovis Fire Department processed 4,931 claims for ambulance service, totaling $3,755,535.56. After all efforts to collect these accounts have been exhausted, there remains outstanding balance of $364,251.67. That's 685 accounts. The amount we are requesting to write off is 9.7% of the total amount billed during 2017. This amount may change slightly if we receive any additional payments. We would also request to remove the claims process for the Kerr County Detention Center inmates, which we consider resolved based on the JPA. These consist of 32 accounts representing $19,780.37. In addition, I'd like to remove 32 claims for deceased persons with no estate or spouse to collect from. These claims have a combined balance of $11,324.43. And Mr. Howald had me add in there, for your perusal, the request this year for the 2017 write-off was 9.7%. That has steadily dropped over the years. The 2013 write-off was 18.24%, which the commission approved. 2014 was 12.66. 2015, 10.13. 2016, 9.8. I know there's questions, so I'll stand for questions on this.
Thank you for the report on this, and what I'm impressed with is not only the steady increase in your success, your rate of success, and only asking to write off 9.7%, but 9.7% of $3.7 million and nearly 5,000 claims. I mean, you and your team are skilled at your work to collect on all of that. That's incredible. It's just incredible.
So naturally, I would love to take credit for all of that,
I was testing you to see if you.
but I can't credit myself with any of that. So Miss Julie and the billing office have done just an immaculate job of collection on these. What I would point out here, we are requesting to write this from our books so that we don't have to carry it forward on our books. These claims still remain to collection as history for the year 2017. And as often is the case, down the road, someone will decide to buy a home and they need to clean up their credit record. And they'll come in and take care of claims dated back in these previous years. Those claims still have the ability to be taken back out of this and put in as revenue. So it's not a complete loss. We do collect on past years, but we've got to get them off of our books to move forward on those claims that we're actively processing.
That makes sense. Commissioners, questions for Chief Nolan?
No questions, just keep up the good work, sir.
Chief, who does collections? In-house?
All in-house. Yes, sir.
Good.
You got a good team. That's
Yes, thank you.
impressive.
They wake you in the middle of the night and they tell you they're gonna take your house.
We appreciate that. Any questions or comments further? Any debate on this issue?
No, make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion to approve from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, second from Commissioner Garza. Unless there's further debate, Commissioners, what is before you is the approval of the 2017 ambulance write-offs as explained by Chief Nolan. Please vote. And the vote is unanimous. The motion is carried. Chief, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I could.
Yes, sir.
Just a couple of items I'd like to throw into this. Updating the department. And so I brought my deputy chief up here with me just to make her stand to see how this goes. So Ms. Craigmile did command her first structure fire yesterday. And
I was local, I was close to it, so I made it there first.
and she did a fine job, so that's a big win in the department. Our staffing, I have 2 personnel coming, one from Wisconsin, another local, coming in for job offers. They really want the jobs, and that'll happen over the next couple of weeks. With that said, we will be fully staffed in the fire department.
Wow.
Incredible.
Good job.
And I was hoping Darren would stay because that, the building safety has done a wonderful job for us. Those empty homes, we have to go to time and time and time again. The kids play in those homes, they're unsafe, and drug activity happens in those rundown homes also. I've got a crew coming in right now from Texas. They're bringing in our new rescue unit. So in 2020, we were hoping to take delivery of 2 trucks, one a brush truck, one a rescue / squad unit, first response. COVID has put those on the back burner for parts and chassis. They're bringing in the squad unit now, and what I learned today was while they were on the site, our new international truck for the brush unit also arrived on site. And they didn't have a clue when that was going to show up. They've upgraded our contract. The trucks are not 2020 year models. They're actually going to be 2022 year models. So we got a really good deal on that pricing. Briefly, we have all of our new young hires in the a cadet class. They'll be graduating from that on April the 8th. And with the squad unit's arrival and stocking, we will have the Station 6 at 21st and Mitchell open on March the 15th. I'm sorry, Maine. 21st and Maine will be fully open and operational March 15th.
Okay.
Outstanding. Great. Just a moment. Commissioner Madrid?
I was gonna ask you, how's that fireman that got hurt at that fire? How's he doing?
He's got some more process in the hospital. He lives at Lubbock, so he's going through over there, but he's doing good. He really is.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to know what was going on with him. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, Chief, outstanding job with the fire department. I think it's incredible to hear the great things that you're doing, and in particular that you're fully staffed. That's wonderful.
We appreciate the commission's support.
Yep. Commissioners, next we have what is now item 3 under new business, and it is request for approval of second extension of the city manager employment agreement. And to provide some direction on that this evening, Mr. Morris.
Thank you again, Mayor. So Mr. Howald's original contract was done on August of 2017. In November 2nd of 2018, there was a 3-year extension that was executed. And so I've drafted another 3-year extension for your approval. It's essentially the same terms as the first extension, which you've all reviewed. And it would be for 3 years, so going until February 10th of 2025. And I left basically all the same terms and conditions from the first extension in the second extension with some minor modifications. So I would be happy to stand for any questions. I believe there's a copy of the employment contract in your commission packet following the commission action request.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, any debate on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion for approval from Commissioner Casals and a second from Commissioner Madrid. Unless there's further debate, Commissioners, Mayor Pro Tem, what is before you is the approval of second extension of City Manager Employment Agreement to Mr. Justin Howald. Please vote. And the vote is
See Mr. Howald holding his breath over there.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, thanks for not having debate. That would have been awkward. Thank you for everybody voting in the affirmative. Appreciate that as well. And I would just say that it's a pleasure to serve the city of Clovis. We have a wonderful team. We have a great leadership team amongst our department directors and wonderful employees that work for us. And with the ultimate goal of serving every day to make the citizens of Clovis' lives better and what we can do to assist and help and serve them. And certainly do appreciate the support that this commission gives not only myself, but gives all of our employees. So thank you guys, and certainly look forward to continuing working with you.
Thank you.
likewise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Commissioners, we have request for approval to appoint 2 representatives from the from the Clovis City Commission to serve on the Economic Development Steering Committee. Ms. Burrows, do you want to advise on this?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. In your packets on packet page 148, there's information regarding this item. We're working with TIP Strategies on the Economic Development Plan, and they're asking for a steering committee to be put together. It would consist of various representatives from different entities, including the Community College, Curry County, CIDC, Chamber of Commerce, the COG, the Clovis Main Street, large businesses from industry, and so we've spoken with Mr. Denton with Southwest Cheese and David Robinson, who was here just earlier on this evening with Plateau. We also talked with the schools, Cannon Air Force Base, and we're reaching out to Workforce Connections and SBDC. So we'd like to put a representative or 2 on from EIB, but we would like 2 representatives from the Clovis City Commission. So I'm just bringing that to you this evening for discussion and some guidance, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burrows. Commissioners, Mayor Pro Tem, I'm very excited as you are to see TIP Strategies get started with the assessment and plan for economic development in our community. I think it's overdue, and I just think it's so important that we get focused and get busy and get after economic development. And so I'm very excited about TIP Strategies getting going, and to think that they want to put together this steering committee to really get things started off in the right direction. So with that collaborative approach, I couldn't be happier. And I know you are as well. What are your thoughts about appointing two representatives from this commission?
I'll volunteer.
Commissioner Paula will volunteer. Thank you for that.
I think Commissioner Burns would be good on it.
Okay. Well, there you have it. You have 2 that have offered to do that, or was there anyone else that wanted to put their name out?
I'll make a motion to go with Commissioner Paula and Commissioner Burns.
Second.
Thank you for that. We have a motion to appoint Commissioner Paula and Commissioner Burns to the TIP Strategy Steering Committee. That motion came from Commissioner Garza. There was a second to that motion from Commissioner Elliott. Commissioners, please vote. We have 4 yes votes and 1 no vote. The motion is carried. We will appoint Commissioner.
That's a way vote.
Away. Okay. The motion is carried. You have appointed Commissioner Paula and Commissioner Burns to the TIP Strategy Steering Committee, the Economic Development Steering Committee. Thank you.
And Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, just for your information, Commissioner Burns and Commissioner Paula, that steering committee meeting will be on March the 2nd at 9 a.m. It'll be a virtual meeting. Thank you.
I guess I should have asked first is what it involves.
No, we like your style of just volunteering.
Yeah, volunteering.
Say that again. I'm sorry, Claire. March the
March
what?
the 2nd at 9 a.m. It'll be a virtual meeting, the first one. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
3 or 4 hours.
And thanks again for advising on that, Ms. Burrows. Appreciate it. Last item under new business this evening is request for approval to appoint a District 4 representative to serve on the New Mexico Municipal League Board of Directors. Ms. Burrows.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. There's information regarding this in your packet. In April 2020, though it does seem like it may have been 202, which is what's written in there. Commissioner Madrid was elected by the District 4 municipalities for the New Mexico Municipal League to serve as their representative for this area. As you know, Commissioner Madrid will not be serving another term, stepping down from the commission. And so we are looking for a member of the commission to serve in his stead until the New Mexico Municipal League District 4 meets. It'll probably be April, May, I would imagine, sometime fairly quickly after the legislative session. But I spoke with Mr. A.J. Forty, and he asked for a representative, so thank you.
Very good. Thank you for that, Ms. Burrows. As you know, the Municipal League is very key in our city and then our commission, staying informed about issues going on at the state level affecting municipalities such as ours. And so it's important that we have representation there. I'd like to thank Commissioner Madrid for his service there, for representing us there for as long as you have, and certainly appreciate that. Commissioners, what are your thoughts on who we would appoint?
I would like to appoint Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. He's been there several times.
Mayor?
I have been, but I would rather see Mayor Morris represent us on the league.
Okay.
If he's willing.
Okay. Appreciate that.
I would
So-
second that, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay. I don't think we had a motion yet.
What's the motion?
But Commissioner Garza has suggested Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, in declining that, has suggested me. Commissioner Madrid had a thought. Yes, sir.
Well, I was going to recommend and make a motion that the mayor be appointed to this position.
So that's a motion.
Okay, I'll second that one.
So now I think we do have a motion to
Right, then a
appoint
second.
me, and coming from Commissioner Madrid, and the second came from Commissioner Burns. Any further debate or discussion on this?
Other volunteer-
By the way, I'm happy to serve and would enjoy doing that. I appreciate and enjoy the interaction with the league and participating in mayor's caucus meetings and so forth. And I am very interested in being more involved in representing us there.
Mayor, could I make some comments?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Burns.
The mayor and I and Commissioner Madrid attended a meeting last week of this group, and I was very impressed with our mayor, and I just wanted to brag a little bit. The contacts that he's made in the past year and a half, I guess, have been invaluable. I attend markets in my industry, as many as I can and can take the time to, and I always come home with a lot of information, a lot more information than I could have gleaned reading anything I can. And we did that at that meeting. Was really impressed with the way our mayor worked the room, and also very impressed with his work in the Capitol. The man did a great job.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Burns. That's very generous of you. Again, we do have a motion and a second to appoint me to that position with the league, District 4 with the league. Commissioners, please vote. We got all 8 to vote yes on that. It's unanimous, and I appreciate it. Thanks.
Tiebreaker?
Thanks for the vote of confidence there, Commissioners. Appreciate that. The motion is carried. So we will move on then to reports of boards, officers, and committees. Do we have a report regarding the Parks, Recreation, and Beautification Committee meeting that took place on January 24th?
Okay, I think I got it.
All right, Commissioner Madrid.
Okay, we had we were supposed to have a presentation on SCA role players, but nobody showed up, so we didn't have, if anybody knows what SCA is.
Society for Anachronism.
Okay,
Commissioner Garza knows.
okay, it's that knights and all that stuff that have battles out there at Mid-Hawk Park. And so we didn't do anything on that. And then we had presentation discussion regarding pickleball locations. And as you read in the agenda on the consent agenda, we put a grant for $105,000 for basketball, tennis, and pickle courts at Hillcrest. And that's what we went ahead and agreed to go ahead and do grants. See if we can get some grants to do it, so we tabled that. And then we had updates on parks projects. Russell Hooper did it. Guy Leader light poles, bleacher thefts, I guess they caught the people that stole those bleachers, which is a good deal, but it was $25,000 and they got $500 for them. And then water pool resurfacing, a pool climbing wall, Roy Walker bleachers. And then we had, our next meeting is April the 16th at 2022. And we have that's not the next meeting, sorry. This is the Community Easter Egg Hunt, Saturday, April the 16th, 2022, Guy Leader Softball Complex. And the Great American Cleanup, Sunday, May the 7th, 2022, 500 Sycamore. And, do you have anything else?
No, good job.
Thank you for that. Oh,
No?
nothing else down there? Thank you for that report, Commissioner. Appreciate that. Thanks for your service, as well as Commissioner Elliott and Commissioner Paula's service on that committee. Let's see, a report regarding the Eastern New Mexico Water Utility Authority Board meeting. I will report on that, but then also invite Mayor Pro Tem or Commissioner Garza, either one or both, to add to the report. We had our monthly board meeting on the 27th at the offices over on 801 Pyle Street. Routine agenda items included the approval of monthly financials. New business items included approval of update to the Water Authority's easement acquisition plan, and then also actually approving easements. That's become quite commonplace at the board meetings as the project is advancing. The easement acquisition is taking place, and so we're approving those easements, or approving purchase of those easements, and it's wonderful to have so many landowners in the region that understand the importance of our project and that are helping us to accomplish this important project. Then we also had reports from our consultants and as well as our engineers. And I've shared with you the news, but since November, when the federal infrastructure bill was passed, things have gotten very busy as we have worked very hard to update cost to complete, as well as work on a 5-year time plan to complete the pipeline project. And that, of course, assumes that we do get the funding that it looks like we may get from the federal and state levels. And then, of course, that involves us as member communities, and of which Clovis is the largest, coming up with our 10% share. As you remember, the funding structure is 75% federal, 15% state, and 10% authority members. And the House Bill 2 in this legislative session at the state has in it, of course, this hasn't been passed or signed yet, but it has $10 million allocated to our project. That's good news, but we are also working very hard to look for even more funding from the state as well as from the federal government and continue to advance this project. I've said so many times lately that we have the right team in place, and this is an exciting time in the life of this project, and we can see the end. We can see it completed, providing the funding does come in, and it looks like it will. So we're very excited. This project is the linchpin in our water situation going forward, and so being connected to that renewable water source at Ute Reservoir is absolutely vital. Mayor Pro Tem or Commissioner Garza, would either of you have anything to add to the Authority Board update?
Mayor, you covered it real well. I think this is an exciting time for our project, and we look forward to the continued construction.
Thank you for that. Yep, very good. Okay, let's see. Do we have a report regarding the Library Board meeting that took place Monday?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We heard an update on the memorial scholarships, which were awarded to students. And unfortunately, this will be the last year we award these scholarships, as the funding is running out, or has run out. We also reviewed the library policy draft, which we will be brought to the commission for approval. And we will be installing the new electronic LED sign for the library, which was made possible by the GO bond, and that should be put up hopefully within the next couple of weeks, so we're looking forward to that as well.
Where's that going to be put up?
Where?
Where?
It'll be where the old one is, on
Just
Seventh
replace.
and Main.
Gonna be nice.
It'll just be an all-color electronic sign, so it's gonna be real nice.
Outstanding. Thank you for that update. Any other reports from any of the members of the commission? I would report briefly, we've talked about the Municipal League Day that took place in Santa Fe last week, but I just want to update you, commissioners, you know, and this really kind of speaks to the importance or the important role that the league plays in what we're doing here. But the agenda included briefing on legislative issues affecting cities, everything from, you know, budget and revenue packages that are before the legislature to, you know, bills that are affecting how gross receipts are collected with a local distribution, local government safety net act bill that is being pushed, environmental legislation and how that affects various communities around the state. We received updates on the infrastructure funds. You know, we hear a lot of, you know, the phrase, you know, or the statement is made over and over again that the state just has so much money, you know. And while that's true, you know, oil and gas revenues were at record highs in the past year. And at the same time that a tremendous amount of federal funds have flowed into the state. And so, you know, the governor has some infrastructure money, and she's appointed czars over the different categories of infrastructure. And so, you know, there's a lot of speculation and a lot of, you know, seeking out and trying to understand how it is that funding could be made available. And it appears that there may be grant opportunities for some of that funding. And then I'll just mention a couple of election bills. There are, you may or may not know this, but, you know, there's been an effort to take the elections away from municipalities in the state. And there are two election bills, Senate Bill 6 and Senate Bill 8, and one of them is 250 pages long. Another one is, you know, not quite as long, but you know, I'm afraid that within those bills, they're trying to get at our municipal elections, you know, and they want us to take those to November and let the state run them, you know, on the first Tuesday in November. But I happen to believe, as a home rule community, this is an issue of, you know, maximum local control on our part and on our community's part, and we do a good job with our municipal elections, and we need to hang on to them. So we'll track those bills. We'll testify in committee if we can, and continue to fight to keep our local elections. We also had reports on return to work bill effort, which unfortunately I think that bill and that effort has stalled this session. And then we had an update on the Law Enforcement Protection Fund. Commissioner Madrid or Commissioner Burns, do you have anything to add on the Municipal League Muni Day?
No, I think you covered it well, as Commissioner Burns says.
No, I do not. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. Any other reports? No one is flagging me down, so we will move on to future agenda items. Do we have future agenda items to discuss?
We have a meeting again next Thursday, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. We have currently we've got the PAPI indicator on the agenda. We have the monthly investment report, a presentation to Vince Romero, who'll be leaving us as the zoo director. The Clovis Main Street program will be giving an update. Oishi, a liquor license, is on the agenda, and that's all I have at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burrows. Anyone else have future agenda items to bring up? Very good. Announcement of date, time, and place of city board and commission meetings. As Ms. Burrows mentioned, because of rearranging our meeting schedule this month, we have another one of these meetings next Thursday. So be prepared for a city commission meeting next Thursday at 5:15 here in this room. With all of that being said, thank you for all that you do. It's a pleasure serving with you. We are adjourned.